Royalty runs deep within the veins of many African people on account of many chiefdoms, kingdoms, and empires that have ruled over Africa since antiquity. And as you already know, these dynasties were known to carry the traditions and customs that were practiced by their ancestors, passing them down from one generation to another in continuation of their traditions regarded to as culture. Of the many traditions that have been practiced for centuries, and especially by the royals, are polygamy and wife inheritance. The traditions of polygamy and wife inheritance have particularly been perpetuated by the African dynasties holding on tightly to the culture of polygamy and ravishing in the benefits of being polygamous, whereby these royals, chiefs, kings, and emperors acquire as many wives as they could possibly have, and thereby birthing a herd of children. Yet the question remains, is polygamy and wife inheritance a necessary evil? Hello guys, and welcome to my channel where we talk about all things African, from music to art to fashion to culture, and also to the people of Africa in general. My name is Betty and I am that African social butterfly. Now, before we continue on to our topic, I ask that you please like, share, and subscribe to this channel because I really do appreciate your continued support. More than anything, African dynasties are vehicles through which customs and traditions are conserved and preserved. And even though most Africans have long since abandoned their old traditions for new traditions that match their modern values, yet still the current existing dynasties have held on to old traditions that are considered to be outdated or even obsolete in this modern Africa. At this point, it is important to mention the dynasties in Africa that have conserved and preserved this tradition of polygamy and wife inheritance. King Mswati III, the king of Swaziland, has a total record of 16 wives and 45 children through polygamous ties, as it is the custom of the monarchy dating back to his forefathers. And speaking of forefathers, King Mswati's father, King Sobhuza Dlamini II, had 70 wives and 210 children and more than 1,000 grandchildren before his death. Now, the unique thing about King Sobhuza II of Swaziland, he was king for 82 years and 254 days. He was the longest verifiable reign of any monarch in recorded history. So for 82 years, King Sobhuza reigned over Swaziland, now renamed as Eswatini, for 82 years. And this is a very long reign. However, the house of Dlamini of the Swazi nation is no match and cannot compare to the Fondom of Bafut, the royals of North Cameroon, who have taken polygamy to another level. And one such king is King Abumbi II, the current Fon of Bafut. This ancient kingdom of Bafut is located in the northwest province of Cameroon. And King Abumbi is the 11th Fon of Bafut, having succeeded his father, the late King Achirimbi II, and upon ascending the throne of Bafut, to reign in his father's stead and continue with the traditions of his forefathers. King Abumbi II customarily inherited his father's 72 wives and 300 children, adding them together with his 28 wives he had acquired for himself, as well as the children he bore. Now, the current record stands that King Abumbi II, the Fon of Bafut, has the title record of 100 wives and 500 children, making him the living most polygamous man this side of the Sahara. And King Abumbi is generally a happy soul and a proud son of Bafut. Yet, if you think that having 100 wives and 500 children is way too much for one man to have and to hold, then you'll be shocked to know that the Fon of Bafut is outnumbered by his ancestors. And one such ancestor is the legendary Mfon of the king of Baboon, Ibrahim Njoya Mbombo. Ibrahim Njoya was born in 1860 in Western Cameroon and ascended the throne in 1895. Now, reliable sources suggest that King Ibrahim Njoya had a total of 1,200 wives and concubines and 350 children in total. Let me repeat that. King Ibrahim Njoya had a total of 1,200 wives and concubines and 350 children, thereby outdoing the famous King Solomon in matters polygamy. King Ibrahim Njoya had many accomplishments, of which we shall discuss at a later date. At this point, the real question remains, how can one man have 1,200 wives and concubines? Better yet, how can one man be allowed to have 1,200 women? How can one man be able to handle 1,200 wives and concubines? What is or what was the purpose of marrying so many wives? However, tradition will not allow us to question its wisdom, because tradition was long before we were born on this earth. Therefore, we should be blind to tradition, for tradition knows best. Even though tradition becomes a threat to our progress and development, yet how dare we question the tradition of our fathers? Africa is yet to come to terms with these traditions of polygamy and wife inheritance. And even though many Africans prefer the Western culture of monogamy, whereby the regular African man chooses only one wife, being heavily influenced by modernity as well as Christian values, still Africans love their traditions way too much to abandon them. Perhaps because Africans feel a sense of loyalty and belonging, holding on to what they know rather than embracing a new culture, of which they deem it to be foreign and a breeding ground for secularism. The way I see it, polygamy is a tradition that cannot be easily discarded, neither replaced permanently by monogamy, because the roots of this tradition of polygamy go way deeper than what we already know. Even with social tools of education and Christianity, Christianity and religion rather, we have not been able to eliminate polygamy, because polygamy has been in existence since the days of Adam and Eve. This polygamous practice has been perpetuated for generations and centuries. Yet in order to curb it, it will require an individual effort. Individuals must decide not to engage in this practice of polygamy. And in this day and age, none of us should be encouraged to share partners. Honestly, that's what I believe. We should not be allowed to share partners for moral, ethical, and even spiritual values. So it is up to you and I. We must decide about if we want monogamy or polygamy. Monogamy is a change that we Africans should wish to embrace. That is my belief. I hope that this message has been informative to you. And if you liked this video, then kindly please share, share, and subscribe to this channel, because your support is highly appreciated. And until then, my name is Betty, wishing you a blessed day.